The throne room of Valarax Prime fell silent as King Zorthon the Immutable crushed the datapad in his four-fingered grip. Around him, his council of war-scarred generals and ancient advisors exchanged nervous glances, their chromatic skin shifting through shades of concern. "Impossible," the king hissed, his voice resonating through the crystalline walls. "Princess Lysera was declared barren by our finest physicians. The sacred womb ritual confirmed it. She cannot bear offspring." Yet the holographic image floating before them told a different story. Princess Lysera, his youngest daughter, stood in the garden of the human embassy, her typically violet skin glowing with an unmistakable golden luminescence. In her arms, wrapped in simple earth cloth, was an infant, half Valorian, half human, undeniably alive. The child should not exist. Ambassador Chen Wei had arrived on Valarax Prime 2 standard cycles ago, representing humanity's first formal contact with the Valorian Empire. The Valorians, an ancient species that had conquered 47 star systems, had initially viewed humans with amusement. These newcomers to the galactic stage were unremarkable in almost every way. Average strength, limited telepathy, short lifespans, and no natural armor or weapons. King Zorthon had seen them as useful, however. When trade negotiations stalled, he had offered what he considered a generous gesture: his defective daughter as a gift to the human delegation. Princess Lysera, deemed infertile after decades of failed genetic interventions, was considered a burden to the royal bloodline. Giving her to the humans served dual purposes. It appeared magnanimous while removing an embarrassment from court. Ambassador Chen had accepted with characteristic human politeness, though his delegation had seemed uncomfortable with the arrangement. The Valorian court had laughed at their squeamishness. These humans understood nothing of practical politics. That was 18 months ago. Now senior physician Corell stood before the king, his sensor stalks drooping in shame. "Your Majesty, I have reviewed the medical data personally. The child is healthy, genetically stable. The princess's reproductive system, which we documented as non-functional, is now operating at optimal capacity." "Then your diagnosis was flawed," the king snarled. "No, sire." Corell's voice wavered. "I have compared the genetic scans. The princess's physiology has changed, subtly but definitively. The human's presence appears to have triggered biological adaptations we did not think possible." In the human embassy across the city, Ambassador Chen sat beside Lysera in their private quarters, watching their daughter sleep. The princess's transformation over the past months had been remarkable, and not just physically. The defeated, hollow-eyed woman who had arrived at his door, essentially exiled by her own family, had slowly regained something he now recognized as hope. "They will come for her," Lysera said softly, her accent still thick despite her improving grasp of Mandarin. "My father cannot allow this to stand." An air of mixed blood from the daughter he discarded. Chen nodded, his expression calm despite the armed guards now stationed at every entrance. "We anticipated this possibility. Your doctors were not entirely wrong, you know. Valorian and human biology should be incompatible." "Then how?" Lysera looked down at their sleeping child, wonder still evident in her luminescent eyes. "Because humans are adaptable in ways most species are not," Chen explained gently. "And apparently we make others adaptable too. Our immune systems, our genetic repair mechanisms, our gut microbiome. We're walking ecosystems of constant change. When you lived among us, ate our food, breathed our air, your body began to adapt. My medical team theorized it might happen, but we could not be certain. You knew. Before you accepted me, I knew it was possible." Chen met her gaze steadily. "I also knew that you were a person being treated as property. That was unacceptable." The sound of heavy footsteps in the corridor interrupted them. General Vaxmore, commander of the king's personal guard, entered with a contingent of soldiers. His scales were set in a battle configuration, but his primary eyes showed conflict. "Ambassador Chen, Princess Lysera. The king demands the child be brought to the palace immediately. She is of royal blood." Chen stood slowly, positioning himself between the general and his family. "With respect, General, she is also of human blood, Earth citizenship, and this embassy is sovereign territory. Do not test me, human." Vaxmore's hand moved to his plasma blade. "We have conquered empires, and we have ended them." Chen's voice remained level. "General, before you act, consider, how did a defective princess become fertile? What other human traits might be?" Transferable? Vaxmore hesitated. The implication was clear. If humans could make the infertile fertile, what else could they do? The soldiers behind him shifted uneasily. The king has 47 star systems, Chen continued. But according to your own census data, your birth rate has been declining for 3 centuries. You're a dying species, General. Powerful, ancient, but fading. We are young, adaptable, and we make others adaptable. Think carefully about what conflict might cost you. In the palace, King Zorthan paced furiously as his council debated. Some demanded military action. Others urged caution. The humans had no fleet in this system, but word had already spread to the Galactic Council. Other species were watching. Finally, Matriarch Selva, oldest of his advisors, spoke. Your Majesty, perhaps we have been asking the wrong question. Not how could this happen, but what opportunity does it present? The king turned sharply. Speak plainly. The princess was infertile. Now she is not. The humans did this intentionally or not. Our species has struggled with declining fertility for generations. She gestured to the hologram of the half-human child. That infant represents hope, not shame. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Chen stood in the throne room once more, but the atmosphere had changed. King Zorthun looked older somehow, the weight of potential extinction evident in his bearing. The child may remain with her mother, the king declared, each word clearly painful. And Princess Lisara will retain her royal title if she wishes. She wishes to be called simply Lisara Chen, the ambassador replied. But she bears no ill will toward her people. The king's eyes fixed on Chen with an intensity that would have vaporized lesser beings. And in exchange for peace, Ambassador, humanity will share this adaptation? Chen smiled slightly. Your Majesty, we've been sharing it since we arrived. Every cultural exchange, every shared meal, every Valorian who has lived among humans, the adaptation is already spreading. That's what humans do. We're contagious in the best possible way. We don't conquer. We integrate, we adapt, and we help others adapt. You planned this? It was not a question. We hoped for it, Chen corrected. We saw a species trapped in rigid biology and rigid thinking. We offered flexibility. The choice to accept was always yours. As Ambassador Chen left the throne room, he allowed himself a small smile. Humans had been the underdog species for so long that everyone underestimated them. They saw humans' weakness, short lives, fragile bodies, limited powers. They never saw humanity's real strength until it was too late. Humans didn't just survive among other species. They improved them, and that truly was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy.